Let me tell you a familiar story. It's dinner time, we're at the table, and my son Junior hasn't eaten any of his vegetables. And I'm like most moms. I want him to eat his vegetables in a reasonable amount of time without hiding them under his plate or trying to feed him to the dog. So what do? Well, first I have to figure out, what do I want? And I want him to eat his vegetables before bedtime. Then I have to position a solution to one of his problems. Now, what's one of his problems? Being his mom, I can tell you for sure, one of his constant problems is not getting all the ice cream he wants. So in this case, vegetables are going to become the solution to his problem of wanting ice cream. And I say, after dinner, we get dessert. Exciting, right? And I say, Junior, look, your sisters finished their dinner, and now they're eating ice cream. Now the girls are in on it, and they want their little brother to grow up healthy and strong and eat his vegetables, of course. And so I say, girls, how's your ice cream? Are you glad that you ate that salad? And they say, oh, Mommy, it's so good. It's so yummy. Junior, hurry up, eat your vegetables so you can have ice cream with us. And I say, Junior, can't you see? The faster you eat those vegetables, the faster you're going to get ice cream. And I'm no longer nagging him. Instead, I'm giving him a path to getting what he wants. So how does this work? The process comes from sales. And you might say, oh, no thank you, I'm not into sales. That's not for me. Yes, it is. We're all in sales. From ideas to interviews, we sell daily. Now, over the last 2 decades of selling, managing, running a sales program, creating sales competitions, and training, I've analyzed thousands of sales conversations. And just recently, I actually joined a team where we created a technology that is able to analyze sales conversations in bulk. Just last semester, we analyzed over 46,000 sales conversations. And through these sales conversations, we've been able to really hone in on the sales process. Now, over time, I've seen the sales process help people to win business, to get promotions, get jobs, but I've also seen it help my own students have better relationships with their friends, their family, and their significant other. If you can hone in and stick to a process that you know works, you're going to be on your way to getting what you want, but then also building some confidence along the way. So what's the process, right? The process is know what you want, be what they want, and be prepared to handle pushback. So how does this work for sales? Let's break it down. What do you want? Well, you want to make a sale. What does the company want? The company wants to cut cost. So how can you be what they want, the solution to their problem? Well, fortunately, you sell a technology product that can help the company to become more efficient and also to save at least 10% of cost. And the company is hesitant, and they say, how can we trust these numbers? But you're ready for that. And so you clarify and you make sure you understand the pushback that you're getting. And you share evidence, data, stories, testimonials from several customers that you've recently been able to help just in the last 6 months to save 10 or even 20%. So you ask, can you see how we can help you to save at least 10% in the next 6 months? The company agrees, and you're on your way to making that sale. Now, how can this work for you? What if you don't sell that technology product? Or what if you don't have that ice cream adoring son like I do? What if you don't even know what you want? Well, let's break that down. And you guessed it, there's a process for that too. The process is align your values, your experience, and your talent to find direction. Values, what's important to you? Experience, What have you done? And talent. What are you good at? It can help in some of the toughest scenarios, like trying to find out, what do you want to get out of life? What do you want to do for a job? And even one of the hardest decisions of all, what do you want to make for dinner? Right? That's a tough one. And every day you have to make that one. Now let's go ahead and illustrate this with that example of what we want to make for dinner. Let's start with value. I value using things up before they go bad. So I'm going to head over to the refrigerator. I'm going to see what's in there. And let's say I see some chicken, some pasta, and cottage cheese. So I'm going to take that out. Experience. I've learned over time that sometimes foods pair together and others they don't. So I'm going to put that cottage cheese back in the refrigerator. And talent. I can heat these up, add some jarred sauce, and there's dinner. So we originally created this process in order to help people create their brands online with social media because they could post around that purpose. But it can do so much more than that. I like to say yes to projects. I like to help people when they ask for it. And I have a tendency to overcommit, right? Hannah's here in the front row. She can tell you. She sees it all the time. But if you can identify your purpose, when a new project request comes in, you can look at it and say, is this going to get me on the path to where I want to go? Or is this just going to be a waste of time and a distraction? So identifying that purpose can help you to say no to projects. And it can help you in so many ways. So do yourself a favor. Before you go into that next meeting, take 30 seconds and think about, what do you want to get out of that meeting before you go into it? And chances are that meeting is going to be more productive. Now we're going to talk about being what they want. And I'm not saying give up who you are. This is really about framing and positioning yourself as the solution to the problem. Now, you might notice up here, you see a screen of cookies. These are my favorite cookies, but you can just imagine your own favorite cookies up there. It's important to remember, when you are going after what you want, it's tough, but most people, they don't care what you want. They don't want to help you get what you want. They want what they want. So how can you bring them over to your side? Well, you've got to show them that helping you is really giving them what they want. Companies do this all the time. People don't buy products. They buy solutions to problems. They buy outcomes. Drivers are not just buying cars, right? They're buying autonomy and dependability and status. During the pandemic, the consumption of comfort foods has gone up. We're not buying cookies at the store. We're buying outcomes. We're buying solutions, that little slice of happiness, that ability to treat ourselves after a tough situation, or the crispy sweetness and enjoyment of that after a tough day to really take our mind off of the stress. So you might wonder, how can we do this? How can we be what they want? Well, you guessed it. Spoiler alert, there's a process for that too. And the process is UDIA. Now, keep in mind, when I'm not up here, I'm a mom of 3, and I don't get much sleep. So I've worked these around in many combinations, and this is what I've come up with. But I think you're actually going to remember this, because instead of an idea, it's about the person you're talking to, so it's a UDIA. So when you're going after what you want, to be what they want, first you have to understand what is the problem that needs solving. Next, dig deep. Really understand, why is this problem important to the person? Why does this problem need solving? And why does this problem need solving now? The next is evidence. Provide data, stories, statistics, evidence to show that you are the solution to the problem, that you're the right fit for that job, that you should be the one that they buy from. And then finally, agree. Do they agree with you? Do they agree that you are the solution to the problem? Dia. If you can identify that problem and really understand why it's important and get the agreement that you can solve it, and of course that they want the problem to be solved, that's another talk in itself, but if you can do those things, you're going to be on your way to getting what you want. Next, we're going to talk about pushback. Pushback is fun if you learn how to handle it properly. You've got to lean into objections, lean into pushback. It's really difficult when we get pushback because we often get defensive or we want to run away. So what happens in a meeting if you have an idea? Someone speaks up and they say, nope, that's not going to work. That's not good. What do? Do you withdraw from the group and stop speaking up? Do you find a reason to leave the group altogether? Or do you defend your idea right away? There's another option. And in sales, it's called wait for it, process. And you know what? This process should be very easy for you to remember because we just talked about Dia, and now this is Via. Now remember, I am a mom of 3 and I don't get much sleep, but this is what you get, and I think you are going to remember it. So when you're getting pushback, first, understand, really clarify, and lean in to understand what the true concern is. Usually it's not evident, and there's layers. So we have to try to understand. But naturally, we have a knee-jerk reaction, and we want to be defensive, and we don't listen. So you have to fight that. It could be as simple as just asking why. But I'm telling you, it takes a mindset shift, and you really have to work at it. Next, validate. Sales is all about helping. We're on the same team. You don't have to agree with that objection, with that pushback, but you should let them know that it's okay for them to feel the way that they feel, that they have a right to feel that way. Next, evidence. Prove with data, stories, statistics, testimonials, what you say to be true. And then finally, agree. Do they agree with you? Are they no longer concerned about that objection? And if they are, it's important to go back to you, to start all over again, to see what it is that you missed. Now, objections can come at any time. Of course, they can come when you're asking for the sale, and they can come when you're asking for that promotion you've been wanting. But they can even come when you're walking in the door. One of my students, Jordan, he was interviewing for a position. And it wasn't just any interview, it was his perfect dream job interview. He was so excited. He went to the company's website at least 100 times beforehand he practiced. He walked in with his nice blue suit. He had his leather portfolio with him. And they took him right away. As soon as he entered the hiring manager's office, as soon as he walked in, the hiring manager stood up and he said, "We don't hire college students right out of school, and I'm not planning to. I just want you to know that. I'm really just taking this meeting as a favor to a friend. So just so we're on the same page coming in, right?" That's really hard. That's really hard to handle going in. But you know what? Jordan, he remembered his training, and he stayed calm. And he went to understand. And he said, "Oh yeah? Why is that? Why don't you hire right out of college?" And the hiring manager went on to say, "Look, we don't do it because we hired a student out of college. He didn't have experience. He needed too much training. We couldn't do that. We're a small company." So Jordan validated. He said, you know what, I can certainly understand why you wouldn't want to hire somebody who doesn't have experience. It makes perfect sense. You're a startup. You have so many other things to do. And here's the deal. You can't argue with somebody who's not arguing back, right? The hiring manager felt like Jordan got the message, and they continued the conversation. This gave Jordan that opening to talk about his experience. He had internships. He was the president of the sales team. He had competed nationally and internationally where he was ranked. He had done hundreds of role plays. Now the manager was surprised. He didn't even know that you could study sales while you were in college. And Jordan went in for agreement. He said, can you see that I have experience, that I'm going to hit the ground running? The hiring manager did agree, and he hired Jordan. And not only that, he gave Jordan 2 promotions just within the first year of working there. UVIA, it's a simple process. And if you use it, I hope that you can lean into pushback and see the opportunity in that hesitation. Today, we talked about learning how to get what you want. Know what you want, be what they want, and be prepared to handle pushback. So now the only thing left to figure out, are you ready to get what you want? Thank you.